Hey everybody, it's the Guntech here, developer of Titanopoles. I submitted this game for the community game jam made by Brackies, Blackthorn Prod, and all the rest. And this is pretty much it's actually my first ever game to develop. So in this video, I will take you with me through the journey of making this game, which, to be honest, it's the only game I ever made right now, so it's my favorite. So the theme of the game was that the game is a liar. I can't really think about much at this moment, so I started by just experimenting with some coding and physics and stuff, and I got some funny results and stuff like this. Like one of them looked like it was in space. Some of the footage you will see are actually speeding up a bit, like time 2. While experimenting, I added bounciness, which is going to be important in the game mechanics later. You will see in the ball. It's like one of the main gameplay mechanics in the game. As you see now, everything was just experimenting, nothing really important. It was just having fun, thinking about an idea for the game. I didn't do anything important the first day, just did. The next day, I found out what I want the game to be like. So I started working on the art. What you see now, or what you saw now, was footage of me and my friend who helped me in the game, Movinci. On the team viewer, as you see, it was laggy. Anyway, I finished the tile maps, the tile set, or whatever it's called, for the first world, which was gonna be something like a park or forest, and also the player and his animation. I also finished the coding for the camera follow and of course the player movement, as you see. And I added an experimental ball I didn't really know what I was gonna use it in at this moment, but I later found out how to use it. You will see by that time. And I finished the work of this day by finishing the animation for the player movement, up, down, right and left, and as ideal animation too. But still, by that time I didn't really know what to put in the game. I didn't have the idea yet. New day with clear brain, and thanks to my father, I now know what to finally put in the game. He gave me the idea of making titans, like mutated little animals who became monsters, titans, whatever. Well, I got the name of the game from that idea too. Anyway, I also started working on the art, the whips, the trees, bushes, and of course some UI element like the health, I mean. I'm about half the way through making this video and I just noticed that, well, my talking is not that clear. I'm sorry if you can't really understand most of my words. Well, English is not my first language, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't really know or care. Anyway, also other thing, also I forgot to say the idea of the game, or like the lie in the game, wasn't in the game mechanics, but it was in the story. That's why it may look like, why does this have any relation to lying? You will see if you play the game. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you play the game, you will see it in the end. Anyway, to the next day in making this game. So by noon the next day, I have finished the game over screen, the pause screen, the UI, dying. I also made a way for healing, like if that bench. The idea was like, you're tired because of all that journey, so just rest on the bench a little. I then started working on the menu. Everything was working nicely, it jumps to the next scene, everything was working. By that time I didn't think about an idea to tell the player about the story of the game, so I came up with the idea of a green screen with auto-typing on it, like a message or something, and well, at first I kinda regretted it. What you see now is me struggling to make it work the way I want it to work. I searched the internet for a way, I found it, and it also included sound, but the problem is that it made the beat sound like even at the spaces. It read space as a typing, but I didn't want this to happen, so I tried to fix it myself, and it caused me to get totally frustrated. And in the end, it worked on accident, which literally caused me to run around my house crying. What happened is that the mistake was so tiny and I didn't know it, and I just like placed the like I didn't I wanted the if statement to be if the character is not equal to space, so it makes the beep sound. Of course, it's not written like this code, but you get the point. And this not equal is the thing that I wrote and made it work. And before it, the mistake, at first I made it like this, but the mistake was that instead of single quotation mark, I made a double quotation mark, which was wrong in the coding. And when I found out that it's supposed to be a single quotation, I removed the not equal, and for some reason it didn't work, and it worked when I added the not equal. Because of this, I decided not to add a skip button. I was done for today, there wasn't anything else to do, I guess, or maybe I didn't record anything I did after that, I don't really remember. But anyway, that was it, and jumping to the next day. That day I tested everything I made in the game, which were 3 levels. I don't remember I did the 3 levels that morning or the day before. But anyway, I tested them to send them to Movenshi to see them. Talking about Movenshi, the plan was that he make the assets for the second world, the city, the tile set in short, and some other background elements like cars. But anyway, he was very late on it, just saying. So as you see, I was testing these scenes, and the good thing about testing is that you find the errors, which is something that must be found before making the game. And I found an error which was really ridiculous. I forgot to reference the goal for the barrier. The goal opens the barrier. That was the purpose of the ball, and of course I fixed it. And I continued working my way through this level, and luckily everything was now working. I finished my work for today. I didn't make the boss fight that day, I made it the morning of the second day. So for that day, that was it, and jumping on to the next day. 1 day and 7 hours left. Absolute panicking. I was really nervous, I didn't know what to do. I felt like there is a lot left to do and I didn't finish it. Like there was still the second world, there was still the third world, the final boss fight, and other stuff like the ending. And because of all of this, I got in a huge fight with Movenshi because till that moment I was literally working solo. He didn't send me anything from work yet. So I was really nervous and we got into a fight, which caused me to I became not unable to work for the rest of the day greatly, but I managed to do some stuff during it. Spoiler alert, I managed to finish the ending by the end of that day. I will be honest, I kinda messing up the timeline of my work. I don't remember everything. The fight maybe even didn't happen that day, but the day before. But it doesn't really matter anymore. Anyway, spoilers. So if you want, you could skip to not see the ending if you want. It's 3 a.m. and the gym is about to end by 9 p.m. I finished working on everything now except one thing left, which is the credit for the game and the assets of the tiles for the last world. However, I finished the boss fight but without these tiles. As you see, these tiles were Movenchi's responsibility. However, I helped by one thing. But as you see, it was, as I said, 3 a.m. and a half, so I was really tired, I was messed up, I was trying to finish everything so I can sleep, to wake up tomorrow early a bit, to finish everything left and submit the game on the Game Jams page to finally end this. Well, it was a fun time, but everything has to end, and it was tiring. Ow. As you see, the final boss fight was working, it just needed to be colored a bit. By that everything is now done. I was checking to see that all the scenes are in the build, and with that everything is cool. Time to finally sleep. Hours left on the jam to end. I worked on the credit and finished it. I also wrote the controls in the credit. I was waiting for Movish to send me the last thing to finally color the last round. He sent it, I started working on it, and before the game jam's ending by 5 hours, I finished it and started testing it, or like quickly finished it made 2 runs to check it that everything is working, fix it a little mistake I found, and finally 4 hours before the deadline and some minutes I submitted the game on the game jams page, and it was finally done. I just prepared the page for the game and made a WebGL version of it and submitted it, because at first I submitted only the downloadable version, then made it a WebGL game and submitted it, and by about 3 hours and some other minutes, I always forget anyway, I finished every single thing, and it was on the page and it was ready and working. 2 last things I want to say before finishing this video. Number 1, it's really fun to make a game and fun to join a game jam, and like I always wanted to become a game developer at some point, and starting by joining a game jam is like really the most intense way to start making games, but it was really fun and worth it. I learned a lot during this. Like I had I know nothing in video editing, I mean sound editing, and also like 2D programs like Photoshop and game. I learned everything during the jam, which was really great. The second thing is I am going to make a walkthrough. I walked through the game like God damn it, I'm kind of stuck right now. I'm gonna make a walkthrough of the game and submit it and and post it on my YouTube page. So stay tuned, subscribe and leave a like, and make sure to ring the notification bell to see it when I submit it.